All right, so I think we're in the right place now. And let's see here. That's right, we're in the right place now. Okay, so if you were on it, that was in the wrong place. You can come back to us again on YouTube, Forensic Networker, and you will see us there. In any event, so what kept me in the game was that I had to burn all the bridges. And how do you do that? Education. It shocks me how I see people suffer. People suffer. Welcome to YouTube. People coming on board now. People suffer every single day. People cannot have the things they want every single day. People look at people who are successful every single day, and but get up the next day and do the same thing. I mean, it puzzles me because when I was younger, I was obviously an athlete, but when I didn't have any much, I had this burning desire inside me. When I saw a big home, I was happy for the person that had it, but burn inside that I didn't have it. If I saw a car that I wanted, you know, it just burned. I just needed to. So why is it that someone else has that and I don't? So, and I realized at that moment, you just have to find people who are like you. They got one head, two legs, and two arms. That's my wrestling analogy. Just have to know what they know to own what they have. And in order to keep myself in check, getting the information wasn't hard because the information is readily available. Readily available. Then it came down to me. Came down to me. So how do you come out of the state you're in? Because you're in a state of flow. State of flow is it's a scientific term when you're used to a routine. And at that time, my routine was not a millionaire routine. So how do you come out of that and get into a routine of a millionaire? You can get the information. It's like going to the gym. We can always take someone else's workout program, but are we really going to go to the gym every day and actually do it? That's the hard part because we're in the flow of not doing it. So for me, I had to face reality. Although I had a restaurant business, so for me, was easy to make those determinations that I have another restaurant and we're doing okay, I guess, and I didn't have to keep getting up every time I wanted to quit. 6 times in the first 9 months when I launched my profession, MLM, 6 times the first 9 months I wanted to quit. 6 times. I was at age 20. And every time I found a way not to quit, or maybe the upline said something that made me not quit. So I think a lot about that. The information is not hard. It's getting people to do things. That's the discipline side that's hard. To get them out of the flow they're in now and get them into the flow of success, flow of being a millionaire, flow of being productive. For me, it was about burning the bridges. If I felt there was something to go back to, I wouldn't push hard. If I felt there's absolutely nothing to go back to, then there's only one place to look: forward. Burn all the bridges. And tonight, I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to burn all your bridges. Tonight is foundation building. In forensic, we got different things we do. Some of them are very technical, right? Hardcore MLM how-tos, right? But that part is actually the easy part. The hard part is you actually doing all those easy parts, the discipline side. Tonight we're going to talk about a few things. Foundation building, building infrastructure. We're going to talk about the world today. I'm going to burn all your bridges. We're going to talk about how to maintain and create wealth. And we're going to talk about the MLM industry today. Let's talk about the world because we can't act as if we have a lot of time. I don't know, like I don't understand how we could sit every day and thinking we have a lot of time. Not only our age is going by, we're getting closer to the retirement. Right around us, there's a whole bunch of retirees who are still struggling and looking for jobs and working at Walmart, or they just don't have a lot, right? That scares me to death. That scares me to death. Even more so now. This is all before pre-COVID. The reason why I was always so motivated is because I never wanted to feel a need of any sort at the retirement age. I would look back at my years. I would say, I mean, what did you do? Because that's one area that you need to be able to retire and live the life that you want is at retirement. You've done your work. So COVID made it even more urgent because shutdowns, lockdowns, and all this other stuff. The inflation. Let me tell you what's happened to the world. I think there's still some people think that we're going to go back to pre-COVID days. That wasn't good either, by the way. That wasn't good either. It's just a lot worse now. The government of the world have only one mandate. One mandate. Stay in power. That's it. They will do whatever they need to do to stay in power. So the countries that could decided that, you know what? We're just going to keep printing money. All those going to destroy our currency. It's going to destroy people's assets. It's going to steal from people's assets. It's going to sell and mortgage the future of the country. But that's not my problem. That's down the road. At this point, I'm just going to print money and we're just going to give it away and do the lockdown. And what that has caused is what's called hyperinflation. They don't like to call it that. But we're going to talk about this tonight. When you lock down the country, and this is all relevant to you, so we're going to go to where you're going to end up. Then there's lower workforce, right? When it's lockdowns, there's lower workforce, especially now with all these mandates. So we go lower workforce, then we go lower productivity. If there's less people working, there's less products being made, but you got the same demand. You got the same amount of people looking for those goods. So now that leads to shortage of goods. When there's a shortage of goods, the price go up. And also, because there's a lot of people not working because they're getting money from the government, the people that want to go to work, they want more money, so the price goes up again. So now we got much higher prices, and all of that put together becomes hyperinflation. What does that mean? Some people think it's nice that they're getting money, but all that money that's coming in, when you look at what happens to the price of goods and services and everything you need and gasoline, and we're going to talk about that now, and the money that you had saved over time, and all of a sudden that money is worth 25% less in just 1 year. You didn't make any money. They stole your wealth away from you. They stole your wealth from you. So the people I listen to, they're billionaires. They're economists. When they print money, that means there's more of it. When there's too much of something, it loses its value. So every ounce of savings you've had has been devalued by 25%, and you're paying about 25% more for everything else. So that free money wasn't free. It cost you a fortune. It cost you a fortune. Let's look at in Canada. By the way, this hyperinflation, you know what's going to happen? Here's a prediction for you. The bottom 100 currencies in the world are going to fail. The way Zimbabwe is failing right now, and El Salvador, a lot of countries are failing right now. All right, look what happened to Lebanese currency just a few months ago. The low 100 currencies are going to fail. And when that happens, again, this is all of this comes to one thing. And that's how what MLM is a solution for everything. So I'm getting to that in a minute. Let's look at what happened in Canada. Because in Canada, we brag about here we have the most disposable income and all that stuff, right? They say inflation is 2%. Really? Well, the beef went up by 20%. So how is inflation 2%? Eggs 16.1%, canned tuna 41%. 41%. Dairy up 6%, chicken 5.1%. So it puts it all together. We're averaging 15 to 20% inflation in Canada. Why is that important? It's important because if your inflation is 15% or 20%, you better get a raise of 15 to 20%, or you're getting poorer and poorer and poorer. It's that simple. If you're working and your expenses just went up by 15% and your raise wasn't 15%, your raise was, say, 3%, you're in a deficit by 12%. That's called inflation. 12%. So the monetary velocity, basically, is the speed in which your income can meet or surpass the speed of your expenses. Expenses being inflation. So if your expenses are going up by 15%, you better bring up your income by 15%. What happens? Put it in the chat group. If your expenses go up by 15% and your income doesn't go up by 15%, then what happens to you? Are you getting richer or poorer? Put it in the chat group. If your expenses go up higher, more than your income, what happens to you? We get poorer. It's that simple. So if your expenses have a higher monetary velocity than your income stream, you're losing your wealth. And you're getting poorer and poorer and poorer. So now we got a hyperinflation going with insane monetary velocity. And people don't. So what's happening to people of the world? It's simple. See, this stuff is not complicated. Once you understand these things, or think about it on a daily basis, you're never going to be demotivated to work. See, it's easy to overlook things and try not to think about it, and kind of, you don't think about it till everything falls apart. But if you understand these things, you don't get up in the morning and burn through a day. You don't get up in the morning and burn through 8 hours. You don't burn through a week. You don't burn through a month. One of the first things I learned from a CEO of LinkedIn, I love this saying. He said, only the paranoid survives. Wow. Only the paranoid survives. Steve Jobs once said, you treat every day like it's your last day, as if you're about to lose everything. That's how you take a company from nothing to become the most valuable corporation in the world. How can you learn from that? And you wake up, burn through 8 hours a day, not realizing your expenses are burning through your wealth. The monetary energy that you have doesn't support your lifestyle because the monetary velocity that you have doesn't match the monetary velocity of the inflation or your expenses. So if your cost velocity is higher than your income stream velocity, you are losing your wealth. So when they print money and they push up the inflation to about 20% a year, and say you had $1 million in the bank, all of a sudden that $1 million is now only worth $800,000 because with the 20% inflation, They just stole your wealth. And that's all they care about, because that keeps them in power. They mortgage your future, my future, the country's future. They keep printing, keep lockdowns, no one's working, price goes up. You think they're good because they're pushing out a check here and there. By the time you get to realize what really happened, because things never get back to normal. Imagine yourself, you're in the business. You sold this for $1. Now you can sell it for $1.50. It's never going to go back to $1, no matter what happens to the economy. It may go down maybe 10, 20 cents, but it never goes back down to the way it used to be. They're stealing people's wealth. So monetary velocity of inflation in every country is different. But it doesn't matter what country you're in, the monetary velocity of inflation is always higher than a job. Always higher than a job. Simply, the monetary policies today has made it that no job, because the policies today is that the government's decided we're going to completely abandon any monetary policy discipline we have. We're just going to keep printing. Just going to keep printing. So because of that, what they've created is that there's not a job in the world that can keep up with the monetary velocity of inflation. So if you have a job, you're losing money, you're getting poorer every single year. Forget about the 1% that got big jobs. We're talking most people, right? So a job simply gets you broke. In the old days, we used to say a job is just over broke, right? J-O-B, just over broke. Well, that used to be the case. Now it's not even that anymore. Now a job is direct highway to being broke. Because its monetary velocity can't keep up with the inflation. So what do you do? What do you do when the governments have abandoned completely any logic or sense or anything about any economics that's there to control inflation? They've completely abandoned that. So when that happens, a job is not an answer. Then what you have to do, then find a revenue stream and match the velocity, the monetary velocity of your expenses and the inflation. A job cannot do that. See, MLM can meet and way, way surpass a monetary velocity of an inflation by many, many times. By many, many times. We already know that. We know the type of incomes you can earn in MLM. So the only way for us not to lose our wealth is that for us to get into some type of MLM, because MLM carries a monetary energy, because we tap into other people, right? It's a leverage business. Your MLM business can be a great balancer between your job and inflation. Because your inflation is up here, the monetary philosophy, and then your job is here, and you can't keep up. But an MLM can help your job to match, even surpass the monetary velocity and energy of an inflation. Only MLM can do that, to basically fill the shortfall gap that your job has, to try not to preserve your wealth year after year. Let me give you an example. This is Sunday, inflation is 20%. In Canada, it's about that. That's a true inflation. Forget what the government says. Because the inflation is about 20%, and say your job, let's assume you even have a job and you got a raise of 3% or 5%, right? So now you got a 20% inflation, you got a raise of 5%, there's a gap there. What's the gap? Put it in the chat group. If your expenses go up by 20% and your raise goes up by 5%, what's the shortfall? let's see how good you guys are in math, right? So there's about 15% shortfall. If you get, I know in Canada, rates about 2.5% incorporation rate. That was pre-COVID. I don't know what it is now. But let's assume it's 3%, right? So if you make about $4,000 a month, inflation goes up by 20%, and now you got $800 increase in your expenses. $800 increase. Your job gives you 3%, you gain $120. So now you're $680 short month after month because of inflation. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to come up with the rest of it? See, MLM is the only way you can balance and close that gap between inflation and your job. It's the only way. And this part is you can do it on a part-time basis. Only MLM can provide that opportunity to match and surpass the surging inflation. You can't double or triple the investment. If somebody says, well, I'm making yields, right? Okay, you're making yields. You can't double it to try to close that gap. You can't double it. You have what you have. You accumulate over time. You can't go get 2 or 3 more jobs. You can't do that. There's only so many hours in the day. You can't go open 2 or 3 new traditional businesses so you can close that gap. 2 or 3 more locations. Can't do that. In an MLM, you can always go recruit 2 or 3 more people. You can always go launch 2 or 3 more shops. Go launch some new partners. You can do it monthly. You can go every single month and expand your business by recruiting 2 or 3 more users and sellers. You can do that in MLM. You can't go get 2 more jobs, but you can get 2 more people this month. You can get 2 more next month. You can get 2 more the following month. Only MLM is the only revenue stream that allows you to do that. You have to bring up your monetary velocity to match the inflation. You can't double your investment overnight. You can't go get 2 more jobs, but you can go recruit 2 more people. It's the business that fits perfectly for today. So we got to look at MLM a little bit differently. The MLM is no longer that thing you try. Oh yeah, that business, okay, I'll try it. It's not that thing you try. MLM is no longer that thing you get in to make some money. Those were 30 years ago. MLM is no longer just let's go make some more money. Oh, let's just go try it. MLM is not those. MLM is everything that your job isn't and cannot do. Let me repeat that. MLM is everything that your job isn't and cannot do. MLM now and in the future, people that get into MLM, it's not to make some money or to try. It's a safety net to a job. It's a security to a job when you need it. Lockdowns, losing your job. It's a plan B that provides a security. People getting, more and more times I run into people who say, you know what, I'm doing MLM. I'm not putting a lot of time in it, but this is my retirement plan. See, people look at it, it's maturing up. It's a lot more than let's get in and make some money. You do that, but it's a lot more than that. It's security, it's plan B. It's there as a safety net for your job. Now, I would look at it differently because I don't want a job. For me, this is a path. A job is a means to get to where I want to go with my business, with my MLM business. But I'm different. But the very least, what people look at their MLM business, the home-based business, is something for the future. It's a wealth-building method that a job cannot do because it comes with this huge monetary energy lightning fast monetary velocity. I mean, you can come in within a year, make 10,000 a month. You can't do that in the job. I remember Reza got involved in the first 10 months. I think 10 months, he went from 0 to 27,000 a month. 27,000 a month in 10 months in commission. That's lightning fast monetary velocity that wipes out any velocity and inflation would have. So a job doesn't have that. A job doesn't have that. So MLM is about wealth building because there's massive monetary energy that comes from its lightning fast monetary velocity. If the monetary velocity of inflation is 15%, but then you're getting 100%, 200% of your MLM business, inflation is not a problem. But if the monetary energy of the inflation is 15%, but you made 3% raise on your job, inflation is a serious problem. Serious problem. It says you're jumping on YouTube. Make sure you scroll down, subscribe, hit that like button, do a comment, share, subscribe. Let's get the word out there. Share with one networker. Make sure the link goes out. Let's get people the help that they need. Staying home, waiting for the government to come up with a plan is not a plan. Well, it's a plan to failure. It's a plan to failure. So make sure you like, hit the like button, subscribe, share the link. So MLM is no longer just to make some money. MLM now is planning for the retirement you actually want, not the retirement the job gives you. I don't think there's anybody on this line that would say, hey, yeah, my job will give me a good retirement. If you think that, you have no idea what's just happened. A lot of people worked 40 years. They were told they can retire at age 65. They found themselves getting a job at Walmart at the door because a pension is just not enough. Nobody told them the inflation is about double or 3 times than what they were gaining as a interest on their investments. And they find themselves struggling. That would scare me to death. That scares me to death. It should scare you to death. MLM is time and financial freedom that jobs cannot do. Again, everybody starts with a job, and job is a means to keep you on track till your business takes you home. Job is not to take you to retirement. It's not to give you the life you want. It cannot do that. It doesn't have the monetary velocity or energy to do that. Only self-employment can do that, especially MLM, because you're using leverage. You're using whole teams' monetary energy. We talk a lot about this. You tap into other people's monetary energy. MLM provides options. Options are good. Multiple chances for one person to restart again, right? You fail, you restart again. You fail, you restart. MLM gives you that option and multiple chances to the same person. And sometimes you don't get the first time, a second time, finally you get it, you get kicked in the teeth, you get it, and you go hit a home run. MLM allows you to do that. Jobs aren't that forgiving. Jobs are not that forgiving. So I told about earlier, you got to burn all the bridges. You don't burn the bridges. You wake up every morning and you just burn through another day. If you look at this as the only chance, you never burn through another day. When I was wrestling, I had a different attitude. I won the World Junior Championship for Canada, 15, 16-year-olds, and I was pretty mature. And people asked me, because when we went to World Championship, American team was much bigger than us. The Canadian team was all nervous, and they would say to me, aren't you nervous? Don't you get nervous? I say, yeah, of course I do. Everyone gets nervous. But I had my own philosophies, right? That kept me going. I knew that I needed to control my mind, because if my mind was all over the place, they would get nervous. I can't focus anymore. So my philosophy when I went to a tournament was not to finish first. My philosophy was not to win the gold medal. Was not. My target, every tournament, was to do everything I can to avoid second place. Let that sink in for a bit. Here's the difference. You try to go for the gold medal and you finish second, you did good. It was a good day. You didn't finish last. You try to win the gold medal, win the silver, it's a good day. You won a silver medal. It's a good day. But if you're going in and your target is to do everything you can to avoid second place, you know where you give up the most is a gold medal match, because you think you've had a good day, right? And what's the motivation to win the gold? Yeah, you're going to try, but you've had a good day, you're in the finals. It's a good day, unless the target was to do everything you can to avoid second place. Your day starts at the final match. So during COVID and post-COVID, there's only one metric that counts. Only one metric that counts that will help you survive the crisis that we have now and that's coming, and that is monetary velocity. What type of monetary velocity do you have? How fast can you grow your income to keep up with the monetary velocity of inflation? Who would have ever thought that we would have a 15 to 20% inflation? I was looking at the real estate in 98 different countries. It's insane how some countries 30 to 40% property value increase. But nobody got a 30 to 40% raise at their job. What happened to those people? What happens to people? We have a young lady who's a hostess right now. She has to face 10, 20, 30% property increase in value. She needs a type of business that could match and surpass that velocity. Otherwise, she'll never own a house. Right? A job can't give you that. I look at my son, he's 12. By the time he gets older, we're going to have 50, 60, 100%, in some countries, maybe 500, 600% inflation, depending where you live. What type of future? So what type of business do you need to be? You need to be in a business that's agile, that can match and surpass. There's no limitations. It can take anything that inflation can throw at it, because you can just go and recruit 2 more today, and 2 more tomorrow, and 2 more the next day, and 2 more. And you know what? They're going to go spend 2. That 2 becomes 4, becomes 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 5, 12,000, 24, 2,048, 4,096, 8. The way I did, man, I can't remember. I remember this from back in the 25 years ago. We used to do these type of exercises. So the inflation right now is at 20 to 60% around the world. Some areas worse. Give an example. I put some money in a bank account in Iran. Iran is my country, right? Because they said it was a good deal. Guess what was the interest rate? The interest rate was 33%. 33% interest rate in the bank. This is a major national bank, so it's safe and all that. It was a good deal, so I sent some money. I said, it's a good deal. I sent dollars. I converted to my to Iranian rial and they put in the bank. It's 33%. It's awesome. It's been there for 10 years. Looking at it now, it didn't gain anything at all. If anything, it may have lost from the dollars I sent, because although it gained 33% a year, the inflation is like 40 or 50%. Wow. Wow. So don't look at your cash in the bank and thinking that you're doing okay. If you're not beating the monetary velocity of inflation, you're not doing okay. The reason why big corporations, venture capitals, they don't want to keep money. They just get rid of the money. They buy buildings and buy crypto and buy gold and silver and all this stuff, is because they understand this stuff. They understand that billions of dollars that are sitting in the bank next year is going to worth 15% less. So they get rid of it. They buy stuff. Why is a Picasso or some of these paintings, Van Gogh, or why is it worth 10 million or 60 million or 50 million? Is a painting really worth that? Because there are people who want to invest into things that are rare to get rid of the cash. And there are more and more people willing to do that, so the painting goes to 60 million. And it keeps going higher, keeps getting higher. Nobody wants to keep cash because inflation is a serious problem. So tonight I shared with you, you need to be in a system, a mechanism that you can match or beat the monetary velocity of inflation. A job doesn't let you do that. You got to understand what is the monetary velocity of your household expenses. How much is costing you more to keep your lifestyle the way it is? Once you understand that, then you need to match it with some type of instrument. In this company, we call that Opulence Global. MLM can allow you to do that. By the way, in MLM, that's also called building an organization. Building a team of customers who buy and consume products, and a team of people who sell products. And you put that together, you've got yourself this massive momentum, massive velocity that grows and grows and grows, like 2, 4, 8, 16, just grows much faster than inflation can. Government system can't do that. Jobs can't do that. Traditional businesses cannot do that. Investments cannot do that. Only MLM can. Let's go recruit more people to consume and sell all your products. I talked about earlier what kept me motivated. I burned all the bridges. I was very clear on where the future goes. I was extremely clear that if I did what I kept on doing, I'd probably end up like everyone else around me. And I didn't want to end up where people were around me. I had my own vision of where I wanted to end up at. My first seminar, Jim Rohn, Chateau Laurier, Ottawa, 2-day seminar. He said many things. I remember some of them today, 30 years ago. One of the things he said, I want you to write down the 10 closest friends and associates and family members, write down their names. So we all wrote down the 10 people closest to us. And then he said, I want you to write next to their name, take a guess, your best guess, what you think they earned as income last year. So I'm thinking, okay, Bob, he's a Bell guy. He probably makes $25,000 a year. So I kept writing what I thought they were making as their income. He says, I can guarantee you, Jim Rohn, God bless him. He said, I can guarantee you Your income is an average of your 10 closest friends and family and associates. So I took a look at that list. I said to myself, Ramin, you better find some new friends, because that list was not going to take me to where I want to go. All right, guys. Hopefully you see what I see. Hopefully that you're going to burn all the bridges. Lucky for you, you have this vertical of MLM, you got opulence, and what COVID did really helped us. Really helped us, because what's going on with inflation and everything else, it eventually is going to force whole millions of people coming into our industry because of necessity. Before, it was somebody understood business or they wanted more, but now out of necessity, tens of millions of people will be flown into our industry because of necessity. You just have to be there with your sign that says, I'm open for business. And you do that daily, every single day. Every single day. Write in the chat, every single day. With that, make sure you click the like button. A lot of you are on YouTube. You haven't clicked the like, just go down, scroll down, click the like, throw a comment, make the bell button blue, share the link with at least one networker, and let's pass the phone to our brave young moderator here, and maybe you should read some of the comments, any questions, spend the last 10 minutes. So I'd love to listen to you guys.
Thank you, Ramin. That was a great wake-up call. I totally agree with you, because exactly like what you say, to own my very own house, I know that I need more than a job. And everyone's blowing up the chat. They do agree that like MLM does everything a job can't do. And it gives us monetary velocity. MLM is the only way to make us rich. And yeah, it's the only way to financial freedom. It's when we build MLM, in MLM we build organizations. Yeah, everybody loved today's training, like always.
Wonderful. On Zoom, if somebody wants to share something, YouTube will hear you as well. You can just put your hand up, and we got about 7 minutes to hear your feedback or what you took out of this. On YouTube, just blow up the chat. I want to hear what you guys got out of this as well.
Does anyone on Zoom want to share your thoughts after today's call? Please raise your hand and I'll allow you to talk. Okay, we have Naima.
Hello, good evening, good morning, Sarah Ramin, and everyone else in the call. My name is Naima, joining you guys from Minnesota, USA. I learned a lot from this call, and as Haley said, it is a wake-up call for so many. I remember when I used to work from my previous job, 9 to 5. I always, end up like waiting for the other check to come in because I'm always broke. But now since I started Opulence and, running my business, a mother with 3, just a single parent at the moment, and working 9 to 5, I end up like this month, actually I should say last month, both checks was still, in my, wallet. I cashed it yesterday, thanks to Opulence, thanks to Mr. Ramin and this business. Now I'm, saving my money from my job and, selling all my products and making, profit. And this is amazing. I never thought I'm able to do this because of this platform and this MLM. it's better me do that and more. Thank you.
Before I let you go, that was a fantastic example. So we don't need to know the amounts. Just tell me percentage-wise. What percentage of your job right now is your commissions? So say, for example, if the job gives you 3,000 and this is 1,000, so it's 33%, right? So what percentage of your job right now is your commissions with opulence?
Just for this month, I would say the amount I made was more than the money I made a month in my job.
That's over 100%, right? That's over 100. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for sharing. See, right now, I think it's Hamdi, right? Hamia?
Naima.
Naima, okay. See, Naima this month not worried about the velocity of the inflation, the 15 or 20%. She's at 100%. What if you did that every month? What an incredible, thank you for sharing, example right here. Many of you on this call, both on Zoom and YouTube, you have similar stories. Maybe your opulence check was 25% of your job. Well, guess what? You're preserving your wealth. You're not losing your wealth. Only this business allows you to do that. Only this business allows you to do that. If you don't have this business, what do you go get another job? Not too many people can do that. That's wonderful. Thank you for that for the example. It's just perfect timing too, because we're talking tonight about increasing. Let your MLM business be the great balancer between your job and inflation, so we can bring up the monetary velocity of your job to match the inflation. Hopefully exceeds like Naima right now, where she's 4x of the annual inflation. Sounds amazing. Part-time too. How awesome is that? Thank you for that. All right, anyone else?
We also have Ronan.
Yes, hello, Ronan.
Hello, Ronan. Oh, I think we lost. Did we lost him?
Okay, he's probably muted. Maybe can you unmute him, or do you see him?
Yeah, I allowed him to speak, but I think he dropped off.
He dropped. Okay, he'll come back.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
This is very challenging, running between the Zoom and between the YouTube. Wow, 32 years I've been in the MLM industry. And only 7 years ago, I've truly started to learn what the real MLM industry is all about. And I think most people this is their first company, would not know what we actually have in our hands, beyond the idea of a CEO and owner even having time to talk to us, which I've never seen in any company. Beyond that, to be able to be educated in such a way that truly explains, and I've just watched the 25 reasons that you have done lately. The last one, Ramin, I recommend it for everybody to watch. It's just that Julia had a prospect and she said, she's a networker, what can I tell her the difference between? And I said, instead of really breaking your head, why don't you let the biggest expert do the job for you? And we watched it together, both of us, and then she went and showed it to our potential prospect. What you have shared with us today, Ramin, is the ABC for characters like me. Because I've always used the MLM industry and thought that I was building a business, but in reality, the more I've started to work with you, the more I realized that I was in la la land. I was not even close to running any form of business. And the second it starts hitting you, what are you willing to do for what we call a job, 40 hours in a week? And then I looked at that, and I used to work in the corporate world like a dog. They really hard. I would have done everything. And then we come and we have an opportunity that is truly, everything is done. Everything is done for us meticulously from beginning to end. I do not know a better platform on the planet today, e-commerce wise, that has what we have in our hands. And to think even on myself, what I do every day, I still know that I'm not achieving even 60% of what I would have done with my job. Because in my job, I woke up every morning and I went and did at least 10, if not more hours every day. And I would not have an attitude to my bosses because they can fire me. And I would not dare to argue about the things that I'm even arguing with myself, or make no mistake, even with my upline. I remember arguing with Renee and Reza and even with our CEO, and made the fatal mistake on my first year thinking he's my friend. You know, like we come into this industry and we think, oh, we are the important ones. No, we're not. We're completely lucky individual that had the chance of someone to give us the chance to be a mushroom of the success of what they've created and worked so hard for. And if we have attitude, we better put it aside on the shelf and do as we say in forensic, check up from the neck up, and ask ourselves the real questions. If my boss would have told me I have to come to a meeting, to a department meeting, to anything, would I dare not to be there? And then we have webinars and trainings and the best people in the company always here, and people do not, the penny doesn't drop. They're not really serious about their businesses the same as they would be regarding their jobs. And for me, Ramin, what you have shared with us is exactly that. Treat yourselves with respect, and this MLM industry, specifically our platform, will give you more than you can ever imagine. But do not demand things unless you're willing to give everything you have to the process. I really appreciate everything that you have done for me during this last 7 years, Ramin. I truly honor you.
Thanks, Ronan. Thanks for sharing, Derek. Larry, welcome. Larry says, thank you, Ramin. Much appreciated. I'm new to Opulence. Let's give him some love. And I'm looking forward to building an organization. Let's go. Let's do this. All right. One more call, and then we can shut this down. Anyone else we have over there?
Does anyone else want to share? You can raise your hands and I'll unmute you.
If not, that's okay. You can give us announcements and we can shut the call down.
Okay, sure. Firstly, thank you very much for today's training, Ramin. And just a few reminders. Today, the Build Assist program is ending 30th October, so you really just have one more day to, do some last minute recruitment. And see you guys on our Night of the Stars on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. for Eastern Time and 10 p.m. for Asia. Yep. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Stay forensic and to the billion.
The billion.
Record.